thank you to all of you for showing up as well. It's always nice when more people show up for book 3 than book 2. It means you didn't mess up book 2 too badly. So yeah, I see a lot of people here wearing t-shirts and in cosplay and all kinds of amazing and uplifting stuff. So it really means the world to see you all here tonight. Thank you for showing up and thank you for letting me do what I do for a living, because I couldn't do it without you. That's the only nice thing you'll hear me say.
So the Nevernight Chronicles is absolutely one of those up all night series. I have already seen some selfies of readers that got early copies of Darkdawn, and they're all under the covers with tears streaming down their face, and it's really clear that it's 4 a.m. But for those of you who might not have read the series, this is a series with murder, sex, magic, revenge, all the good stuff. And at the heart of it is this mesmerizing character of Mia, who I guess a kind of a bisexual murder prodigy who goes on an amazing rise to power. So while we are all on the edge of our seats to find out what happens to Mia in book 3, Jay, I want to take you back to the very beginning of the series, sometime before 2012, and you're just starting work on the Nevernight Chronicles. How did the story begin for you? Like, what was the genesis for Nevernight, and how did those early ideas become a book?
So Mia started with me witnessing a drunken argument between a couple of friends of mine, lady friends of mine, not lady friends, but like friends who are ladies, and they were arguing about whether or not the C-bomb was offensive, and wisely I stayed right the fuck out of that. But it was a really interesting conversation, and so I went away and wrote a scene where a girl and a boy had a very similar conversation. At the end of that scene, I wanted to know more about who this girl was, and that was the first scene that I wrote. That became, I think, the end of chapter 5 in Nevernight. And I was a little bit in love with this girl at the end of that conversation, and I wanted to know who she was and why she was the way she was. And so I wrote a book to find out. That was kind of it. And visually, she's based on Emily the Strange. You guys know Emily the Strange? Yes. Yeah, weird little goth girl with cats. I just imagined her like 10 years older. And that was how I got the aesthetic for me. So yeah, it was, but finding out who she was kind of a slow, organic process, I guess. She didn't come into my head fully formed. I kind of had to write her to find out who she was. And I actually spent a huge amount of time writing a whole bunch of stuff from her childhood that never actually made the final book. I think I excised about 60,000 words from the final Nevernight novel, because ultimately it's a book about a girl going to murder school, and eventually you want her to get to the fucking murder school. Reading 300 pages of a book about a girl who goes to murder school and she's not yet at the murder school would be really frustrating. So I ended up chopping out a lot of that childhood, but it still helped me find out who she was as a character, and that kind of informed who she was as she went through the rest of the book. So it wasn't wasted work, but it was still hard work, throwing out 60,000 words. Yeah.
Prequel?
No. Because it doesn't make sense anymore. Like, her mum was still alive and she was living with a mean uncle, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that just doesn't fit anymore. The story changed when I cut all that stuff out, so I killed mum, sorry.
You mentioned the aesthetics of the book, and I feel like one of the most amazing parts of it is that kind of Venetian metal Venice aesthetic that the book has got going on in it. But you actually wrote a lot of Darkdawn in Venice, is that right?
I did. I lived there for a month in February of last year, because my wife is here tonight, she will testify to this fact. When I'm drafting, there are levels of grumpy in me. I'm always sort of grumpy. Walking down the street, I'm about a 3. When I'm drafting, I go up to about 6 or 7, and I knew that Darkdawn was going to be late, because this book was supposed to come out a year ago. Those of you who were here for Dosgrave were here 2 years ago. So I knew the book was going to be late, and that kind of pushed Grumpy up to 7. And then I was kind of getting an impression that a lot of people were reacting really favourably to the series, and people were sending me pictures of tattoos of words that I've written, put on their bodies for life, and sending me amazing fan art that I kind of covered the walls of my study with. So I realised that the book was kind of taking on a life of its own, and I didn't want to fuck up the third one. Because those of you who watch season 8 of Game of Thrones know what happens when you fuck it up. So, yeah, everyone's just like totally triggered.
A cautionary tale.
So that kind of pushed Grumpy up to 9. And this was December of 2017, and I went to my wife and said, hey, I'm thinking about going away to Europe for a month and just working on this book in total isolation. Normally, when a husband tells his wife he's going to go on a European vacation without her, what? You what? I swear before I had finished the sentence, my wife was at her computer, logged into, Ryanair.com or whatever, and asked me whether I wanted aisle seats or window seats. Get out and don't come back. So I went and lived in Venice for like a month, and I didn't speak the language. I can order a coffee in Italian, that's about it. And I had really terrible internet, so I was super productive there. I wrote fully half the book that you guys are going to read was written in Venice in that month. And it was super, super productive. But I almost died.
What?
I almost died in Venice. It's like, this is going to lower me in your estimation somewhat. So I was staying in this Airbnb place, and when the owner showed me them the first day, when you're leaving at the end of your stay, just put the keys on the coffee table and shut the door behind you and you'll be good. And I'm like, all right, I can follow those instructions, simple enough. But I was staying in this palazzo building, and you needed a key to get out the front door, and it was also in a walled enclave, and you needed a key to get out through the gate. And I had literally walked in and out of this front door probably 100 times over the course of this month, and it never fucking occurred to me that I was going to need a key to get out the door. So as I literally shut the door with my luggage in my hand, I'm like, wait. I just locked myself in this fucking building, didn't I? Went downstairs and the doors were locked and no one was in these flats. I was alone in the building. I was going to miss my flight, so what I had to do was climb out. It's a true story. I had to climb out a first floor window, and in Venice the floors, like the ceilings are really high. They're like 20 feet high. It's like 3 of me. But I was going to miss my flight, so I threw my luggage out this window just to commit myself, right? My luggage because it led to the alleyway beside the building, so I could dodge the front door and dodge the gate. And I messed my computer up, and I had bought my wife a little glass necklace to say thank you for letting me go to Europe, and glass doesn't do well with one-story drops onto concrete. And I was hanging out this window, hanging onto the bar, and going to Spider-Man myself down to the window below. And the bar that I was hanging onto had all my body weight on it. It like moved. And I'm like, fuck, this is where I die. But I didn't actually fall, thankfully. But I still missed my goddamn flight. Yeah, it's a terrible story. But anyway, I didn't die in Venice. But yeah, fully half the book that you read was written in that kind of month of productivity. And I broke the back of the plot as well, so I wasn't just writing every day, I was kind of figuring out how the novel will work. So thank you, Venice.
I know it can be quite emotional to finish a trilogy. What was it like to write the last word and turn the page on Nevernight?
Oh, it was really sad. It's a weird thing in publishing because the timelines, the book that you're reading tonight, I finished writing like a year ago. So I put all these feelings to bed, and like coming out tonight, like it's kind of like getting a scab ripped off a wound, it kind of opens it all up again. So yeah, it was really sad. Like this book means a lot to me, and it means a lot to a lot of other people. I've had really amazing letters from readers who have said that this character and this book have gotten through some really tough times. So saying goodbye to something like that, yeah, it's really sad. And the last chapter, the afterword, I guess, in the book is there's a lot of me in the sentiments being expressed there. I can't talk about too much, it's super spoilery, but the stuff that you read in that last chapter is kind of me as an author talking to you just as much as it is the character talking to you. Yeah, it was a really cool journey, and obviously a lot of wonderful people have come along with me on it. So yeah, it's always tough to take.
I know that you have described this book as the book where daylight dies, and you've reminded us repeatedly that Mia's death is narrated on page 1 of book 1.
Paragraph 3. Not a spoiler.
I have to ask the one thing that everyone wants to know, like, this series has got a happy ending, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 3 people tell me tonight that they were crying because I've already finished the book and it made them cry. So, but hopefully it
It was like a good cry, right? It was like a...
I don't know, I didn't ask. I just kind of laughed and said thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's not a spoiler, she does die, but hopefully she gets the ending that she deserves, and hopefully the world gets the ending that it deserves. I actually wrote 3 different endings for the book, and the one that you're going to read is the least depressing of all of them. So whatever happens to you, know that it could have been worse.